Is Lower Decks about to bust out? Today on, number 229 of Trekland Tuesdays Live, with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, coming to you right here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47 for some clarity, sanity, and the big picture in everything Star Trek. Hey, everybody. Hey, all of our Tuesday Trekland Live regulars. We call them TTLs. You TTLers, jump in here in the chat. And if you have found us either live or even later, welcome to another Tuesday. Hey, I had a hard time finding a topic this week. I know, there's a plethora of Star Trek news. We're all wallowing in the Star Trek finale for Lower Decks last week. We've got Prodigy just around the corner. It's already making a blip on some screens. There's been news. We can talk about that later on today. But you know me. I want to bring you what's not the same old. Trouble is, this week I wanted to do that based on something I heard, but I can't track it down. I'm going to do something a little scary and daring today, and something that I preach against doing, but I want to talk about it because the time is going to pass. And no, I'm not impugning anyone's reputation here, or talking shit, or making smack, or anything like that. It's all good stuff. I just like to have data, or Spock if I can get him, but I'd like to have data, or data, to back up what we're talking about. In this case, it was a couple of random references that I haven't been able to track down, but I wanted to share it with you anyway because it's kind of exciting. And maybe somebody out there, one of you all, can help me and help all of us if you're familiar with this. Because what I'm talking about here is hashtag trending. Okay? Hashtag trending as a barometer, because the parent analytics can't do it all. Or whatever it is that the Nielsen's are trying to cobble together can't do it all. And yes, hashtags trending on Twitter, and now they've kind of bled over to Facebook even, much less Instagram. But hashtags trending on Twitter, or twending on Twitter, is one of the hallmarks of that platform ever since, these things are going on 12 years now. The old people of the block, MySpace and Facebook, and what all we know about Facebook now. But, that's been a 2015, 2016 when the cool kids were doing it. And some of us old fogies took a year or two to get to that. But I know within a year of that, Twitter was a thing, even though people were trying to wrap their heads around how you talk, in such short blurps. But I heard someone referencing, and now I can't even think where. So again, I apologize for the imprecision of this, but I'm going to go for a gut check with everybody. Overwhelmingly, if you weren't a fan before, more and more people seem to be coming to Lower Decks. And I'm not talking about the hardcore faithful. I'm talking about what's important. For long-term growth, to make more hardcores, which is what are the people at the fringes doing? The fringes of Mundaneville. What is the mainstream audience doing? All of this is to say that, yes, we had this incredible finale. We'll talk about it in the chat here later on. And by the way, hi to everybody in the chat. Jump in, make a new friend if you're not there. Just remember that Twitch and YouTube, you're lucky you see everybody. Facebook, you're only seeing the Facebookers. And Twitch, of course, I'm not ignoring you. We'll get to all the chat for everybody after I get off this soapbox here for a minute. Then take a break. We will look at the Parrot Analytics ratings. In fact, a little extended view today, and then we'll get to chat full bore. That's what we do every week on Tuesdays Live here on Trekland. And yeah, I'm a little weird about that. But then, hey, I started this 4 years ago before the format was set in concrete universally, apparently. I want to talk about Lower Decks. I want to talk about the evolution of the show and its reaction. Everybody's talking about, the content, and even some nays among the yays. Yes, I know. But overall, what a warm, glowy feeling, and the fact that it's terrifying that we may have to wait another year to see what happens to Captain Freeman. Oops, spoilers. But someone mentioned the other day that they noticed a trend on Twitter and hashtagging, and I know this is kind of a narrow scape, but bear with me, that it seemed like Lower Decks was, yes, busting out. That it was getting beyond the hardcore realm of Star Trek fans and might even be penetrating into the zeitgeist. The way that, I don't know, Surely not the way the Mandalorian has, but even the way, Rick and Morty has, or even the way, heaven forbid, we're into this a lot on the Trek Files this week, you'll hear, even the way Next Generation did, post Mr. Warfire, the best of both worlds summer, when Next Generation exploded. Now, I don't know that we're having a spike like that with LowerDecks, but there has been, a vibe, a feeling that I am desperately in search of any kind of data to look up to support, that maybe it's busting out into more mainstream. So I'm turning to you all. Hey, TTLers, we'll get to the chat here in a little bit, but are you aware of any? I mean, is that a vibe anybody else shares? Does it seem like, you know what? And here's the thing. Maybe it's the infamous Boimler crotch shot censored block. That was a kind of, made some people queasy, some people a little disturbed. But was that a pivot moment did that, even if it didn't stick, did that open up a new audience? You know what they say, porn and Star Trek is what built the internet. Even censored porn, even censored Star Trek. But seriously, was there a pivot around and through there? We talk from the inside about how Lower Decks has grown, how the first season built to this incredible arc. There's even a trope and a meme led by Mike McMahon himself, about how the last three, there's the thematic frame for the last 3 episodes of the season, and how they repeated it this way with the cinema one and the big epic one, and and that's fine for us to talk about. But the unwashed out there, they don't know that. The mundanities of the world don't know that. And we were kind of freaking the mundanes, as my friends in the SCA used to say years ago. Let's go freak the mundanes. I'm bored. We were kind of freaking the mundanes there a little bit, but did a lot of them stick? Did it actually grow the base, the funnel that will eventually funnel in to become a hardcore Trek fan? And even buy, I keep wanting to say Doritos t-shirts. Ritos t-shirts. What do you think? Number one, does it feel like, unsupported by math and data, does it feel like among your friends who are not Trek fans, or among your friends who are light Star Trek fans, but they're not, binge-watching maniacs, among them, does it feel like Lower Decks is spreading out? Or again, even to your non-Trek friends and associates, co-workers even. My other request is, does anybody know of an app? And I'm sure there are, hardcore industrialized paid apps and systems that will do this, but does anybody know of a lightweight app to track hashtags? I don't mean them. Yeah, Twitter has one you can look in the moment, or you can look recently, but I'm talking about, can we go back and track, like, over time, look up a hashtag and go? I'd love to do that. I mean, I would love to go back and see the hashtags. We talk about this. We talk about it, but I'd love to go back and have hard data numbers for the infamous Star Trek Las Vegas Saturday, when Sir Patrick came out on stage and announced Star Trek Picard, and we say the internet melted down, the world melted down, and it did, but I'd love to quantify that. Same thing with this recent trend. Now, we've got some bits, and you know what? I'm going to jump into that. Here's the only thing I know to check, besides trying to eke out a hashtag Twitter app that would show that, is, well, our old friends at Parrot Analytics. And hey, if you only are watching Trekland Tuesdays live by the YouTube trimmed down later, you should join us live some week, like right now, only in the future. Woo! And check it out, because we do the Parrot Analytics every week. For good and bad, it is out there. It is something that's trying to measure, and since the beginning, we found it since the beginning of Star Trek, but I mean since the beginning of our Odyssey here. So just recently, they had that trend line for Lower Decks, and it's been, on one hand, the trend line over 60 days looks flat, but it's been consistent. It's up and down a little bit. So I don't know, that's the best symbol. Yeah, Lower Decks is 12.6 times more popular, again, by its online chatter, than the average show. It's still up in the outstanding category of the upper 2.7%. There's nothing that says it's like made a break in the last month or so. Maybe that hasn't, I don't know. It's up 6.3% over 30 days. It's holding steady over the last 60 days trend. And yes, it's more popular than 99.9% of all other animation in America. 99.0, I should say. So I can't see from the parrots where there's been a big breakout. But that's a feeling. That's a feeling. Because if anything has done that, it's been the last 3 weeks. Now, will Lower Decks be like a live action series where once there's exceptions. Lower Decks has a base. They're talked about online, and that's what shows up in the parrots. The Mandalorian, but the hot Marvel shows of the minute, most of the other hot shows of the minute, they have a fan base that recedes. Most everything is at its most popular, obviously, when it's releasing new episodes. We have a couple of exceptions, but even then they bubble down. And that's been true of Picard and Lower Decks as well. They've both reached into the top 10 while releasing new shows. Now, Lower Decks never has reached into the top 10 of parrots. If we're just going to look at that one measurement, and I know that's not the only one out there, but it's the one that's close at hand here and the one that we've been following. And it is an apples to apples comparison in their algorithm. Yeah, the animated series never got up to the point of the other two live actions, but because it's animation, will that make it more sustained high in attention overall? And the fact that now there are 2 seasons out, the more episodes that are out there, the more there is for people to stumble into and find and keep themselves occupied. And, oh my God, did you see this? It's easier to do that, to sustain that with 20 episodes than it is with 10. It'll be easier with 30. And it'll be easier with 40. And again, I'm not talking about skyrocketing, spiking. I'm just talking about within its own curve. What do you think? Have you seen Lower Decks in the greater world? Snap out of your Star Trek tunnel and look at the world around you. Do you have any sense that Lower Decks is? If you wear a Fansets pen from Lower Decks, if you do anything on your mundane pages on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you hang out, Instagram, do you see people tripping in and going, oh, what is that? I should watch that. Or, oh, what is that? Or, oh my God, I found that the other day. And again, the bottom line here is, are people on Paramount Plus? I mean, that's limiting the audience right there. But Paramount Plus itself is growing and looking more mainstream and more mundane, and it's not the channel I take just to get a Star Trek or a good fight episode. It's building its own identity and brand too. Peak Paramount, peak entertainment. I don't know. It's just a vibe. I'm sorry. This has been the most, what am I going to say? Nothing based episode we've done of Trekland Tuesdays Live. My most, tissued paper of topics in many, many weeks. I at least have a personal experience to bring out that I know I can talk about. Because believe me, the last day or so, I was searching. I was really trying to find some evidence of this. And yet I've heard at least 2 people talk about that I can't remember the sources to. I can't find it, but it feels right in my gut. Does it feel right in your gut? Okay. Again, that's going to be a shorty this week. We've got more stuff coming down the pike in coming days and a lot more news coming out of Trekland that we'll be talking about later on after this week. So I'm just throwing that out there. Meanwhile, I want to apologize for all the extreme fans of Trekland Tuesdays Live, because if you're watching the calendar, you know that technically today was, yes, a 3rd Tuesday. And every month on the 3rd Tuesday of Trekland Tuesdays Live, we have a 24-hour special. I got nothing planned for you special except this. There's about to be some news coming down the pike. Nothing huge, but we're about to finally get on with the year here, 2021, and you just want to be on the E-list. You just want to be on my list. Once a month, although insiders will tell you I've been really negligent the last 2 months, but that's about to change. You want to be on my list, and here's the thing. If you jump over to LarryNemecek.com now and just sign up on my little simple list, you're going to get sent 2 or 3 freebies. Yay! that are back from my archives and coming out to you. Things that I don't usually have out for anybody else in any other reason. And there are some people I owe things to, big time. But this at least is automated. So yeah, jump over to the list. This is not a dollar special or anything. It's just a little reminder. Get on the list. I don't spam you. Your mailbox will not collapse under the weight of my emails by any means. In fact, some people are probably wishing I would get off my duff and get some more done, which we're working on too. I invite you to go over there and do that. And of course, subscribe to YouTube and where you're watching now. And if you're not on YouTube, go over to YouTube and subscribe. It would be great. I got into the YouTube situation late. That would be great. And Instagram, we're doing some fun things over on Instagram too. So if you're not even heavyweight on the socials, just go over. Hey, it's Star Trek. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep everything in the Trekland vibe, though. Okay, it will always be deep diving background and canon and where the two intersect, and yeah, especially not the same old you get everywhere else. And hey, I got a lot of good friends and talented folks doing a lot of the same old out there better than others. So I love all of that, but I got to be me. And I got to bring to Star Trek what I sometimes sense is not getting put out there. Sometimes it's not intentional. It's just what folks who don't have the dots to connect to bring that to you. And that's what I do. So again, today feels like a little bit of weak tea. But I have this feeling. And we're about to move on from Lower Decks, to Prodigy. And then, my God, in another month, it'll be Discovery Season 4. Let's see how they've tinkered with the format this time. It's like Discovery is the show that's evolving the most in search of its soul. And it's come a long way. We'll just see what Season 4 brings. But we're about to leave Lower Decks behind. And I just wanted to make the point while I could. We're actually in a bye week this week. There is no new Star Trek this week until Prodigy starts up next week. So take a breather, everybody. Do a little reflection. Get your Halloween cosplay ready, or whatever you're doing. I know I'm busy as beaver. I hope you following along what we're doing here in Trekland too, as well as, of course, what the real folks are doing downtown at Star Trek Central, at Everything's Secret Hideout. Okay. Enough of that. We're going to take a short break here. Again, hang on, a tiny break. You live folks know what I mean. But if you're leaving us right now because you're only watching later on YouTube, thank you. But yeah, check out the live show sometime. Until then, guys and gals and peeps, hey, please check out our Patreon. It's very simple. Patreon.com/TreklandLive. It's a $5, $10 support a month. I have a lot going on. I'm keeping this simple on purpose just to let folks come in that want to do something for us, want to help spread this, especially in the online realm here, the weekly streaming. Hopefully we'll make a few more changes and a few more upgrades coming up soon, but that's what the Patreon is all about. And the folks that are doing it right now, I want to thank all of them here in our TTL club. Blaze K, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne-Marie Siegel, Keith Rombach, Justin Porteous, and Nathaniel Robinson. And yes, our live wires, Rusty Harrell, Halberd Gunn Johnson, Jalen Bullock, Robert McLean, Alan Hoensin, J.R. Poole, and Casey Shafsky. Thanks so much to all of them. And thanks to all of you who, yes, are Trekophiles, spelled with an F. If you don't know by now, the new episode is up today already with the great John Wentworth back talking about promotion. And if you've ever wondered exactly what the heck the ratings numbers mean, John's going to explain it to you this week. And also talk about TNG, as I said earlier, blowing everybody out of the water. And that time when Next Generation was more popular than Monday Night Football. Yes. And we've got the colorful advertising to prove it. And the numbers. Speaking of data. So the Trek Files is up everywhere you catch your podcast, or on Facebook at the Trek Files. That's where you can get the documents of the week, and you will want to see them this week. Hey, live support live. Boom. with the two doctors, Dr. Trek and Dr. Ali Matu, and one of us is a real doctor, every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time. And we'll be back Saturday with a regular show. We have an off week. If you go to our Facebook page for Life Support Live, there's a vote right now. You can add to the categories, but you can vote on what the theme should be this week. And we'll think about taking it. We go boldly through uncertain times every week. Great geek out on Star Trek. There is no quiz, but you might come away with some tips for daily living out of that as we go boldly through uncertain times still. Hey, everybody, that's, if you're leaving us now, that's going to be it for me. You can also catch us. With a very sloppy sign stack this week. But hey, Larry Nemecek's Trekland, where you are right now on Facebook and YouTube, that's the Instagram as well. It's just Larry Nemecek on Twitter, and of course, portal47.net. If you want to do this on a deeper dive with the Portales, with some great guests coming up. Our guest this week in the telebriefing guest night is the great Melinda Snodgrass, who's going to be up a week from tomorrow with the Portales. We got some great guests coming up down the pike too, so I'm very excited about what's happening with Portal 47, and some Portal 47 news for the world at large is coming. With our open house, we're finally about to release the guest and the final date. Can't wait for that. I'll have that by next week. So, yay! It's an incredible time. It's a wacky time. I wish we did have more data to back up the vibes and things that we feel like. I hear talked about. People, it's out there. Maybe we'll get some hard math on this. But yeah, I do think Lower Decks is about to bust out. What do you think? And hey, feel free to leave comments in the YouTube section after we're done. For now, we're going to have the live chat here in just a second, and I'll dive back into that too. Otherwise, until next time we meet, folks, stay healthy. Do all the things. Yes, still. Stay woke. Check your sources. Don't debate a ghost. And don't debate it in your mind. If you can actually find some legitimate, credible evidence, be open to new information. Most of all, trek well, everybody.